hating on me. I pull up to the club.
They pay me when I got 100 rounds stashed in the sky.
So boy, you ain't not a body. What the man talking about the Sunday day? I'm supposed to.
Y'all, you already know what time it is.
MK.
No days off, you know I'm a kid. No days off, I'ma pop my bitch. Better have my money, I'm the landlord.
I don't want to move fast. I want to move correctly. I just don't want to waste no time. If it's something that's going to take us a year to make, if it's something that's going to take us 10 years to make, that's fine. As long as we don't waste no time.
Hell, family, we in the building.
My mind on the real. I'm telling you what's real. Shit just too real.
Salute that boy BG.
They making it my thing, cause I'm trying to be rich, trying to put away meals. That's why I'm in the studio on my shit. Dropping rap at the rap like you sell key after key. Backed up by the best friend, dropping beat after beat. My click is the high boy, so high and things are to the whole lot. No saying that all niggas we roll too deep.
Salute that boy BG, man. They done freed that boy BG home. Salute to the God, man. On dead. Gave them folks a little time down there, man. You know what I mean? So salute to BG, man. Done made it home. After doing this little bid down there. There's been a lot of we've been waiting on BG to come home. A lot of, people with the controversy, you know what I mean? They dropped a video earlier, Birdman, had met him. I'm guessing they was outside of the jail, or didn't really look like the jailhouse to me, but it looked like an airport or something like that. But yeah, man, baby Birdman pulled up on him, gave me, cash money chain, things like that, man. So that was up, man. We're excited to see, what happened to BG. Because, it's an exciting thing for me, a BG from my era. You know what I mean? Those of us that's from our era, the best era in hip hop, period, anyway. You know what I mean? But salute to BG, man. Boy made it home. So salute to that guy, man. You know what I mean? And salute to everybody, man. Salute to all of y'all checking in. Look, this is the Blackadelic Entertainment presents the Ugly Truth Podcast. Family, salute to everybody checking us out on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Family, salute to y'all. Everybody by way of Twitter. If you want it or X, I should say. I apologize, Elon. Those of us on Threads, those listening on Spotify, Radio Public, Deezer, Google Cast, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever it is. Salute to everybody, man, checking in, man. Salute to all of y'all. We back at it, family. This is, the Ugly Truth Podcast. Something I wanted to get into tonight. Jumping back into our, staying on our Surviving America series. But other chapter of it. Last episode we dropped. If y'all ain't checked it out, already, make sure y'all do. Go and check it out. But it was on love and relationships. A little breakdown of where relationship stands as of now. Thus far. But going into now, the surviving America. Wait a minute. My bad. Hold on, y'all. Salute the 11 Hat Company. You know what I mean? This is water. I think I did water already, but this is water. So salute the 11 Hat Company, man. Y'all make sure y'all check them out. They were unofficial sponsor of Blackadelic Entertainment, and as well as obviously, the Ugly Truth Podcast. But we got a conversation to finish, about that. But make sure y'all go follow 11 Hat Company, and make sure y'all go check out our store, Bonfire, at Blackadelic ENT, man. Link at the bottom of the screen, of course. Plenty of merch available. We got merch from Still Got It, the hottest, Teacup, Tata Lee, of course, Rich Geek. Man, it's plenty over there, man. No sense of me talking to y'all about it, man. It's all there above. Some for the fellas, some for the ladies. We got apparel for the kids. Fall is rapidly approaching. Y'all going over there and get your hoodies. We got Mermaid Cartel merch available and all the above, family. You know what I mean? So y'all going over there and check everything out, man. And everything else y'all want to know what's going on with us, man. Y'all just follow us on our official website. Blackadelic Entertainment. That's BLACKADELICENT.com. So y'all go and check us out, man. Everything we got going on to keep bringing more fire to y'all, man. And y'all make sure y'all subscribe for the Melanies, for Teacup, Tata Lee, whatever we got going on. Make sure y'all subscribe. You know what I mean? For link there for anything pertaining to the Ugly Truth podcast. Y'all jump on in there and the questions, comments, concerns about any, topic we may, go in and discuss. You have any topic ideas. Um, anything you want to share, you know what I mean? You can do that. You know what I mean? Jump over the website and do that. You know what I mean? And as always, of course, or you just might want to support. You know what I mean? Send some love, you know what I mean? Link over on the website as well for the PayPal. Or you can just send it straight. You know what I mean? Cash App, dollar sign, Blackadelic ENT, bottom of the screen as well. Um, so family, this tonight's episode, right? I wanted to it's one of them ones that, kind of, dear to my heart, so to speak, and mainly probably mainly because, of of the significance and the closeness that this particular topic, has for me. As y'all see on, the title, of tonight's episode is Surviving America, street struggle and stories, the evolution of gang culture and its impact, you know, um, and an impact, of course, we're talking about among the youth, black youth, more importantly, in America. And it's important to dive into, um, a good fellow, content creator, my brother Charleston White. It's been viral recently for saying that slavery doesn't is no comparison to what gang culture, um, as far as the impact it's had on the youth in our community or black community or black people, if you will. And I gotta be honest, family, I'm probably gonna have to agree with that statement. Um, I open this conversation with a story. Um, I believe in transparency. That's always been a thing, of mine, especially when coming out and sharing, information, but I recently, I have a nephew, and well, let's just say I have younger family members, in my, young guys in my family that's um have experienced this system, unfortunately, to their detriment. Have gotten involved in gangs. That's a modern day time thing, and it's very unfortunate, like us being from, from Atlanta, from Georgia. I mean, this ain't California. You know what I mean? We don't live in Cali. You know what I mean? I understand that's where the experiment, if you will, was first, introduced. And that, we'll get into that part of that, a little later. I just want to, kind of like, again, because we just started with this series on this platform, kind of giving the guidelines of points that we're going to tackle, down the line as we go. But um, and I apologize, family, but been showing my vulnerability, but this is an emotional thing for me, and all the talking about it, especially coming out and talking about it now, on the on this platform like this. But yeah, man, um, young guys, my younger family members got involved. This probably began like around the age of their age, around between 12 and 13. And what ended up happening, what we ended up getting involved in was, um, I guess this want, this need, this yearning for attention. But they got into, gangs. Um, they created a gang. I tell you, you know what? I'm not gonna say the names. You know what I mean? For maybe if any other thing might be coming up, and I don't want to, what I mean, damn sure incriminate myself or whatever. You right? Um, but they created this particular gang, and they had beef with. Hold on, I think. Wait a minute, what did the young man say? One of the young men they had problem with was supposedly a rolling 60 Crip, right? Now again, we in Atlanta, this is Georgia, right? So I'm already like, how he a rolling 60 Crip, right? He's never been in California, like, where that originated from. So like a lot of that for me, maybe, things are different now. No, me just trying to understand the politics of it. But that's neither here nor there. But make a long story short, family, a particular incident took place to where my family members, you know, um went in, it was alleged, I can say that alleged that my family members or their crew, let's call it that, their clique um went and retaliated for something that the Rolling Sixties kid supposedly did. I don't know if he supposedly maybe shot at them, or maybe it was just threats online or whatever it was. But in retaliation, they went and supposedly allegedly shot up their house. Now they don't went they everybody don't went to court, been in trial and everything, and I'm gonna get to that anyway. That's why I'm like, not really trying to say it, because these things are public record. You know what I mean? And I don't have nothing to hide with anything. Um so there was a breakdown. I don't think what guys don't share with these young boys, man, is the truth and the reality, and in a lot of the choices and things they make, the beef they want to settle with violence and things like that. Because one thing is, it's not a music video, it's not a video game. You don't get to hit the reset button. Um, one shooting, one murder can sit you down for the rest of your life. You don't get to just run amok in the city and things like that. And this couldn't get to them. You know what I mean? And like film, I ain't gonna leave it. I can't now say and flex, and I'm gonna go back into this. But they emulate, what they know or what they seen. You know what I mean? What they heard, and they think this cool. They think this is the bravado when strong male figures are not, present. Now I'm not just saying there, being around, and being present are different things. Like I think present is more when your presence is literally felt. That masculine energy, you instilling, life values and rules, and you know what I mean. You instilling, you know, great things that young man can, take and nourish and within himself, and flourish and become, you know, uh, uh, positive, male figure as opposed to, just another a statistic. Whatever you want to take it, be that drug addiction or just another no good cat in the street or in jail or even dead. For that matter. Um, but these things happen, family. And we have been battling this for the last couple of years, and um roughly around the age of 16 and 17 now. And they've been down for a couple of years fighting this case. One of them, one of my family members took a plea. Um, and the younger one took a plea at the age of 15, and I think he took 20, either between 20 or 30 years on a plea. The other one, a little older one, who was 17 now at the time, right now. But again, his trials, they've been down 2 years, so, do the math. Um, he took his to trial, and was able to beat um the the heavier crime. He was able to beat the stronger crime. Um, but he was still, found guilty of being involved, with the gang and with the crew, and possession of vehicles and things like that. It's a lot of that. And so the judge still gave him 8 years, and she even stood on the stand. It was like she wished, said something in the lines of, she wished he would have found not guilty for that because she wanted to put him away, but she could only give him 8 years, and which we gonna appeal that anyway. But um, so it hit me real close to home, man. The effect, and then the thing is, family, coming from where we come from, coming from where we come from. Sorry, I don't know, my lady popping up on me, but coming from where we come from, that's never been, that always been something that and we all try to focusing on integrity, um, and things like that, and you know, having walking those, like, a lot, and the young boys, what they do for those of us, they look at us like, oh, y'all washed up, y'all lame, man, y'all ain't doing it, y'all ain't that, man. But get what, we alive and we free, and so they think it's different, man. And I try to tell the young boy, fella, listen to me, man. Tables don't turn. People just switch seats. It's the same game. It's the same crime, same time. You know what I mean? And they were trying to send a telling those of us that make it, that don't walk through that light. There's no way, and in your face to give you any advice, there's no way you should take that advice for granted or take that for that. You need to take that with a grain of salt and see how you can maneuver. You know what I'm saying? See how you can maneuver and do it and may possibly, change the outcome. You know what I mean? Of a lot. So, but I wanted to dive into a little bit. Um, maybe have this conversation, with the family. Let's see. Uh, all right, family. Of course, this is the ugly truth. It's Blackadelic Entertainment Production, family. Y'all make sure y'all follow, you know, the Ugly Truth Podcast on our official website. That's blackadelicentertainment.com, BLACKADELICENT.com / the dash ugly dash truth dash podcast. That simple, family. P.S. Don't forget to follow the Ugly Truth Podcast and Blackadelic ENT on social media, family. Instagram, the underscore ugly underscore truth. Instagram, Blackadelic ENT, of course. Facebook, Blackadelic ENT, capitalize the B and the E, of course. And stay tuned for that B initiative, family. That's coming real soon. And subscribe to our YouTube channel so y'all don't never miss, an episode filled with honesty, insight, and revelations. You know what I mean? So follow our YouTube channel. Follow us everywhere, family. And we're gonna continue to do what we do, family. Can you try to, share some information out there and share some truth, you know what I mean? I don't know what we like to do. You know what I mean? And this is, of course, Surviving America, the street struggle, stories of evolution of gang culture, and its impact on the youth in America, family. Um, so for me, family, is like the root causes of gangs, among black youth, like, among youth of any racial or ethnic background, is complex and multifaceted, right? Now it's important to note that gang involvement cannot just be attributed to a single cause, but it's the result of a combination of social, economic, and cultural factors. Now I made a list of just some key factors that's often associated with um, the emergence of gangs, amongst the black youth. You know what I mean? Now the first one, have to be economic disadvantage, right? So it's like many black communities in the United States and other countries face systematic economic disadvantages, including limited access to quality education, job opportunities, and affordable housing. Economic hardship can lead some young people to seek alternative means of financial support, including illegal activities associated with gangs. Um, that's one. Not even just that, social marginalization. It's systemic racism and discrimination can lead to social exclusion and marginalization when young people feel marginalized and excluded from mainstream society. They may be more vulnerable to the appeal of gangs as a source of identity, belonging and protection. And it's something you see a lot, especially in the jail. You know what I mean? But and even not necessarily in jail, man. A lot of guys so scared and, by not having fathers, what I mean, they've instilled their backbone. You know, they need crews around them. You need this sense of, excuse me, sense of actually belonging to something. You know what I mean? And it's a very weak trait. You know what I mean? But along with economic disadvantage, social marginalization, we have community environment. Now, high crime neighborhoods with limited access to positive recreational activities and community resources can create an environment conducive to gang recruitment. Now, think about what they've done now, right? Since the rise of gang culture, you remember that, man, we used to have the midnight centers with the midnight league basketball games. There's a recreational center in every single hood. It was just things, man. Even it was just more things for the kids to do, be involved with. You know what I mean? More, local programs. They don't even have the kids involved, playing sports. The girls was cheerleaders and on the little league football, baseball, basketball team. All that stuff, man. Have them something to do. Put trays back out. Like, but high crime neighborhood. And the lack of safe spaces and opportunities for youth can push them toward the allure of gangs. You know, and that's a fact. I mean, we witness that all the time. And like I was saying earlier, I should have made this one number one. Family dynamics, dysfunctional family environments, mainly single mother households. Including issues like that substance abuse, Domestic violence and parental incarceration can contribute to a lack of positive role models and support systems for young people, making them more successful to gang involvement. And we've seen that. We see it, and this is more common. I think this is the easiest way, that parental incarceration, seeing um, stepdad or uncle or something already locked up in jail. Single mom, cause mama cannot listen, ladies. I don't give a damn how tough you think you are. You cannot teach that boy how to be a man because you don't feel how he feel. You will never feel how he feel because you're not wired to be that way. It take a man to know what a boy goes through. Cause see, you're never been what he is, and you're never gonna be what he's gonna be. That's a boy and a man. And that's a fact. Um, of course, one of the more weakest reasons people join gangs, peer pressure. Peer influence plays a significant role in gang involvement. Young people join gangs to gain a sense of camaraderie, of protection. And it's kind of like, what we're saying with, when it comes, to social marginalization. Um, and even just to get more status within a group. You know what I mean? He come because he lame, he ain't got nothing going for himself. And I move so many, man. Come on, man. I mean, y'all know who I'm talking to, too, bro. Like, we didn't come up like that, man. We didn't come up like that, man. We came up, got grown. I went away I moved on, started doing something for a summer or two, right? Came back, but everybody blood and all this, man. That was the rise of all of this. All of everything with Thug and all them. See, I know them guys. Know they families and all that, their old home, man. That ain't got nothing to do with Atlanta, bro. That's why I ain't somebody supposed to go the direction and going everybody ratting and telling on each other. Cause y'all ain't that for real. We don't know that for real. That ain't what we from about. Y'all saw that, learned that, they learning all the gang stuff somewhere and trying to implement. That's why we feeling. I ain't feeling like it, feeling at it. Everybody, cause they don't know what it mean for real. You know what I mean? The more common, right? Cultural factors. One of the things that's really associated with, the emergence of gang culture in America. You know, um, in most cases, cultural factors and neighborhood norms can perpetuate the cycle of gang involvement. Peer pressure and the normalization of violence with certain communities can lead to high gang recruitment rates. Meaning, like, you remember the Age of World Star? The one fighting with the hands and all that. You know what I mean? Like, we idolize these people. You know what I mean? The ladies want the guys. You know what I mean? The hood badass. You know what I mean? We think this there it is is hyphen in the rap music. You know what I mean? So we want to emulate what we see in the movies and everything. You know what I mean? That we introduce it into our culture. You know what I mean? And then we start thinking we treat it like it's a norm or it's the way to go. In translation on that. You know what I mean? And that's my job to really translate my notes for those of my other layman people. You know what I mean? Of course, what we mentioned earlier, um, limited educational opportunities, family. How will they know? You know what I mean? If they don't know nothing but where Sue Surf said that in the song, man. How you gonna scold him when he only know what you told him? You know what I'm saying? So limited educational opportunity, man. Like again, and I go back and quote, you know what I mean, my boy Charleston again, man. Look, these kids will put the guns and the flags down, man. If y'all gave them something else to do, you know what I mean. We start teaching trade, TD boy how to, chain tightening. Oh, y'all boy invaded my open some tie shops up, man. And, you know what I mean? Creates a couple of more landscaping buildings, man. Let them try to get these highway contracts and stuff. You know what I mean? Just doing that, man, more apartment complexes and things like that. You know what I mean? Because a lack of access to quality education and extracurricular activities can limit future opportunities for young people. Some may see gang involvement as a more accessible path to success, or as an alternative to education. You know what I mean? And that for sure, been a thing. You know what I mean? So like, and it's enough people, man. It's enough resources. LeBron, I ain't finna go into that. I ain't even finna go into that. Um, and finally, um, the institutional factors. The flaws within the criminal justice system, because a lot of people go to jail and join the gang because they spread it out. They spread out a lot. Like a lot of the originators out of the West Coast, Cali, Vegas, and all of that. They go travel, get locked up. And they send them places. They send them places to serve out their time or whatever. And then in turn, because we so infatuated, what I mean, with the culture, a lot of guys for those same reasons, social marginalization, they join for protection. They get with these guys to say, because they feel like, it's strength in numbers. You know what I mean? But, that camaraderie that they create, you know what I mean, is based on, is based on something totally bad, right? And like I said, and again, those flaws within the criminal justice system, such as over policing and harsh sentencing, can disproportionately impact black communities. This creates sense of distrust in law enforcement and may lead some individual to seek protection and support from the gang. Which is, why and how they say, what I mean, the Crips and the Bloods, the biggest gangs in North America, were created. You know what I mean? The Crips, if I'm not mistaken, somebody get in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, was supposed to stand for community resistance and progress. And the Bloods was, their mantra was, we blood, we over here, all family. Somebody come over here, police come over here, try to mess with us, we all get down. We going together. Um, but see, that's when it was against a common enemy. Now, we've created the dynamic, the diaspora that, there we only, killing and hurting each other. You know what I mean? Our open enemy gets a pass, you know. And, one common thing, family, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I wanted y'all to really pay attention to. In each of those factors, one of the common phrases that I used was systemic racism. Systemic racism, you know what I mean? Now, surviving America, the street struggling stories, the evolution of gang culture. Y'all make sure y'all following um the untold truth. I mean, I'll say the untold truth. Make sure y'all following the ugly truth. My bad. Apologize, Chris Unbiased, man. That's I don't know why I'm thinking that right there. But y'all following the ugly truth, family. Um, but it leads us to asking the question, family. That phrase systemic racism, which, I had to use in every factor that's contributed to the emergence of gang culture, if you will. Right? Now, what is systemic racism? Is that in when it pertains to institutional factors, social marginalization, from culture, environment, whatever it is, when a systemic racism plays a part in the contribution in the emergence of gang culture in America, because you have to remember everything that we know that we ever was, and there's a great documentary on YouTube. Y'all can go check it out. Crips and Bloods, Made in America. I love the title, whether you like the documentary or not. It's so on point and accurate when it comes to black youth and gang, because we were all made right here in America. It was all made right here in America, through systemic racism. Systemic racism, which is also known as institutional racism or structural racism. It refers to a form of racism that is embedded within the structures, policies, and practices of institutions such as government, education, healthcare, and criminal justice systems. It is not necessarily the result of individual prejudice or discriminatory actions, but rather a broader system that disadvantages certain racial or ethnic groups while privileging others. Now, there are some key characteristics of systemic racism, um, and how systemic racism um, can be effective or is effective, and more so how the process works. One of those factors is the historical roots. Now, systemic racism, it often has deep historical root with policies and practices, dating back to periods of overt racial discrimination, such as slavery, segregation, or, colonization. And these historical injustices can continue and have continued and have lasting effects on marginalized communities like black communities. That's where you get the creation. Um, well, let's say that a lot of how we were treated, there's no real difference than, how things are passed on now, even how we treat each other. Not allowed to assemble. You know what I mean? You respect your immediate fear of the white of your white people. You know what I mean? Something that's kind of like innate to you is a natural, thing. Um, and it's very very unfortunate, family, and these historical, injustice, like, and a lot of the words that we call each other are embedded from that. That's where nigga and motherfucker come from. Um, Excuse my language for those. Wow. Perpetuation of inequality. Now, systemic racism perpetuates racial inequality by maintaining disparities in areas such as education, employment, housing, healthcare, and criminal justice. This can result in fewer opportunities and disadvantages for, us marginalized racial or ethnic groups. I mean, come on, like the areas that it takes to the 9 areas of control that it takes to run a nation: education, religion, warfare, um, ec- um, economics, um, I say religion, um, did I say housing, sex, all of it. We are control, family. The white and or Jewish counterparts control all these areas. They control schooling, they control religion, they control banking, they control the economics. All of the above. There's a small percentage of us that even have a tip, even a small piece of the iceberg. You know what I mean? So, historical rules, perpetuation of inequality. Another disadvantage is implicit bias. Now, that's while not limited to explicit prejudice, systemic racism can involve implicit biases within institutions, which may influence decision making, resource allocation, and interactions with individuals from certain racial backgrounds, i.e., that's where you get your laws like that's where your affirmative action, the things like that are. I mean, that's mainly what that's really, pertaining to. You know what I mean? Implicit bias. Um, or just anything to where I mean, any pretty much in the system where we're not where the white race is dominant. In that phase. Structural barriers, right? Now, institutions may have policies and practices that disproportionately affect certain racial groups, making it difficult for them to access the same opportunities and resources as others. Another name for this, which y'all might be familiar with, is called redlining. Certain areas and properties are not sold to blacks and minorities like they may be for our white or Jewish counterparts. This is just a fact. Restaurants, you know what I mean? That's where that whole fucking Jim Crow area and all of that, was based on. Those structural barriers. And that's key characteristics of this systemic racism. Um, Interconnected systems. Now, the systemic racism can exist across multiple institutions and interact with one another, reinforcing racial disparities. For example, housing policies can impact educational opportunities, which can in turn affect employment prospects and the criminal justice system. Let's tie that together. Housing policies can impact educational opportunities, which can in turn affect employment prospects and the criminal justice system. So they place you living in the ghetto, right? When the ghetto ain't no good schools, right? Because ain't no good teachers coming down, ain't investing no resources in good education, right? So you coming out of there, you dumb as hell, you ain't be able to get no good job because you don't really know nothing, right? So you forced to work for minimum wage, no money, which in turn lead people to selling drugs or committing crime or any type of degrading thing they can to get a bag. Systemic racism at its best, family. And cumulative impact. Now, over time, cumulative effects of systemic racism can lead to significant disparities in outcome, creating a cycle of disadvantage that can be difficult to break. That's like uh, more so those personalities. Um, those personalities and those things like that. But look, systemic racism in America is a complex and deeply ingrained issue that has historical roots dating back to slavery and the Jim Crow era. Now, it's important to understand that systemic racism doesn't mean that every individual with a particular racial group benefits from it. Instead, it means that there are societal structures and policies in place that disproportionately advantage certain racial groups while disadvantaging others. Now, some key points to consider when regarding who benefits from systemic racism in America. If systemic racism in America, or systemic racism in America, is a great contribution to the emergence of gang culture, who benefits from it and why? These are the questions you have to answer when we go to asking, like, what was the beginning of gang culture? Like, who, how, and why did this come about? The only way to do that, family, is to hold in regard who we know for a fact benefits from the systemic racism, the process in America. Off top, family, the white race. In many cases, white individuals as a group benefit from systemic racism because historical and current systems have often favored them. Now, this can manifest in various ways, such as better access to quality education, job opportunities we were talking about, the housing we discussed, even the healthcare. And that's a fact for the healthcare for sure. That's a fact for the healthcare. Um, yeah, institutions and systems. Systemic racism can benefit institutions, and systems that perpetuate it, such as some law enforcement agencies, private prisons, and certain segments of the criminal justice system. These systems may profit from the over policing and incarceration of black and brown communities. And we see that every day, family. That's where the tax money go. The money is in the prison system. Soon on a later episode, we're gonna get into a conversation of the how gang culture, the prison system, and the music industry and government all ties together. I'm gonna tell y'all about a meeting that happened in the late '80s and early '90s. Who all those players that were there and that were involved, and how that affect us still to this day, even more so today. Yo, am I still on? But i.e. Joe Biden, um, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, all of them. Joe Biden is probably, and nobody likes to. Yo, is my mic on? Wait a minute. Yo, okay, I'm assuming my mic on. But no, I was talking about Joe Biden and Kamala and Barack and all the rest of these, um, like I said, no, that's what I was saying. Joe Biden, it has to be, if not one of the most racist politicians we've ever known. I'm gonna take y'all down Joe Biden road. We're gonna go do a blast from the past on the next episode. And I'm gonna tell y'all about Joe Biden. It's one of the last episodes that we did from our former platform. So we may revisit that next episode. They're gonna bring a lot of this all into perspective. Why I feel like my mic ain't on. Hold on. Let's make sure. I don't know why I felt like my mic ain't on. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Maybe I was just tripping. Or maybe I wouldn't. All right. Sorry, y'all. Just making sure. All right. Okay. My bad. Oh, we good. But yeah, well, like I was saying, I'm taking y'all down the road, man. We're gonna talk about that boy Joe Biden and why y'all should not vote for Joe Biden in 2024. Um, but anyway, another factor, man, culture biases. Media and entertainment industries, sometimes, perpetuate harmful stereotypes or narratives that reinforce, systemic racism, which can benefit from sensationalization and, that viewership. And they hush us up all the time. Look what they did to Kanye. Look what y'all did to Kanye with. Um, I ain't the bottom line, man. Us as a people, man, need to, you know, retake back because we so dependent on on the other or the government, to do things for us, man. But I think just really going back in the days where we had those different activities, things need to be created again, man. Tire shops, auto mechanics, landscaping, construction, big brick masonry, man. They need we need black people need to be open. Farming, one of the most important things. I can admit farming and fishing, and agriculture, man. Our people, man, getting these boys out there working with their hands and stuff as opposed to, picking these guns up and or picking into the next drug up trying to get high doing all this and that. You know what I mean? I think it's only up to us. So that's why, you know, we got to be locked in on these kids. Locked in on these youth, man, because the children of the corn is out. That's what this generation is, what you see. Look around, family. You got them 12, 13, 14-year olds committing malice murder. I'm talking about they serial killers, man. And again, like I said, I'm transparent with it. I can't say it like I'm bad no man. I couldn't catch mine. I couldn't catch them young ones close to me. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel so compelled now, you know, to overextend myself. You know what I mean? Lord, use me as a vessel. Someone that came, someone that was spared, that should have been dead and been in jail for, you know, decisions that I made. So I feel it's only right at this point, you know what I mean? How the thing go, each one, reach one, teach one, or whatever. I think it's up to us, fellas. I mean, we owe that. We owe that to this generation. We owe it to the generation before us. We owe it to our mothers. We owe it to our grandmothers, man, them aunts, them black women that, you know what I mean, that cried and begged and pleaded to judges and lawyers and cops for us not to let these boys, this generation, you know, just go asunder, man, because they already at a bad detriment, y'all. But we got a chance. We got a chance. I'm not giving up hope on us. I can't give up hope on us. That's why I'm working on starting these organizations now and be a forefront leader, not just a member, forefront leader, not just a forefront leader, but you know, a member. You know, I want to crank back up dads involved daily. Um, but even a lot of these boys, fathers, man, the dads, and you know, could jump back in, you know, because God is a God of second chances, and you know, I believe, you know, with that, and you know, with the right, you know, right guidance and you know the right thing, a lot of us can, you know, get back and jump back in, and you know, and be involved and be stand up individuals as, you know, and men and warriors and kings and more or less God, you know, as our creator, you know, created us to be. Until next time, family.